events, you can literally sit around and talk and have questions and kind of bounce ideas off of each person. You never know what you can get out of it, right? So that's what we're going to do on tonight. So before we get started, you know how we do. I have the wine of today. And our wine is 19 Crimes. It is the Cali Rose. Of course, Snoop Dogg is collab with this wine collection. And it's really, really good. Very sweet. As you've seen, he has a red wine out as well. But this is one I found recently. It's like you said what it's
It's their holiday.
The holiday collection. The holiday special. So I hope y'all can get a chance to get it during the holiday season, all right? So we're going to get started. So, we want to know how everybody's relationship got started. Everybody's story is so different. And I'm excited to hear how everybody's story started. But of course, y'all know me and Steve, we were long distance for how many years?
2.5.
2.5.
2 or something like that.
We were long distance. St. Louis and Mississippi, that's like miles away from each other. But we made it, right?
8 hours? 8 hours. Yeah, it's 8 hours away.
Maybe 8 I don't know.
But that's long.
It's long.
You know.
It's long. And we're gonna talk about ways we were creative in our time of being apart, that we kept the relationship going, kind of maintain a healthy relationship, and how to keep it I guess interactive or spicy in a sense, because it's kind of hard.
Spicy.
Oh, see, y'all doing too much already. But you know, you gotta do something to spice it up. And so we're gonna talk about that now. Mind you, Steve and I, we are the couple. We're the couple. We're not engaged nor we're married, but these two couples, they're both married. So I'm excited to learn from them. That's why I love having these conversations where I can get something from each person. You know, they can give me something. Y'all have seen Michelle and Barack. They're back, y'all here.
But we're more like somebody else today. Not Michelle and Barack today.
So they're going to give us some more tips, okay?
It's Tupac and Jada.
Tupac and Jada did not marry.
There you go. So I'm
Will
excited.
And
So I'm going to...
We don't want to be Will and Jada.
They might see this.
We just gonna meet Marcel and
y'all
Chris.
see his sponsor, right?
They might see this. We look at the sponsors. Yeah.
Right.
Mental
All right.
health.
So we have Steve's brother, Reggie, and his beautiful wife, AJ, today. They're here. We're all really close. We all hang out. So I'm excited to have them here and to hear their story as well. All right. So we're gonna start with them, AJ and Reggie. Y'all can introduce yourselves and then kind of tell us how y'all got started.
Well, I'm Alicia Jordan. I am Reggie's wife.
Reggie Jordan.
And we actually met back in 2012 on a cold November night. Not a cold. This was homecoming night in college. This was after they lost their homecoming game. It was a sad day. But after that, so one of his friends got a party bus. And so we all got on the party bus and we were jamming, having a good time. And he just grabbed me out of nowhere to dance on him. And so I did a little something. And he fell in love at that point.
My girl had it like that.
You fell in love with a dance?
Come on, bro. Keep telling the story.
And he whispered in my ear like, "Oh, I think I just fell in love."
Hold on. Stop.
That's a beautiful
Hold on. I said I need another hug. I didn't
No, he said he
You need another hug. So
That's what I said.
He was sad that night. Remember,
You really
y'all?
said I had a great game and everything. I said I need another hug.
Oh, wow.
You know.
So she made your
I
night
think I fell in
better.
I
love.
said I need another hug.
She made your night
That's what
better.
she-
I kind of believe AJ on this one. You said,
Oh, it's facts. I'm facts.
you said
This is how it happened.
I'm falling in love.
I said I need a hug.
Oh, wow.
True.
Oh my God.
And so then he asked for my number. I wasn't ready to give it, so I gave him my Twitter. That Twitter was popping back then. So I gave him my Twitter, and he followed me, and he DM'd me, and we talked on Twitter for a while.
And he hasn't got off Twitter ever since.
He's still on Twitter. And my Twitter is Instagram.
But people still be tweeting.
Twitter.
Yeah.
People still be
Yeah.
tweeting.
Twitter.
Nah, y'all don't know Reggie. Reggie is the Twitter guy. This dude. AJ
And so,
changed
yeah.
his life.
So after that, I think I finally gave you my number after a few DMs.
How long was it between the first DM and you giving your number?
Ooh, I don't
Weeks,
know.
months?
It was
That was like
weeks.
eternity though.
But I thought it was pretty cool.
Because
She
she
didn't give you
needed
your
a
number
hug.
right off.
Yeah.
So now my
That's
question,
what I was
she didn't
used to.
give you your number right off. She didn't give you her number right off. Was that something that said, oh, I got to get her because she ain't like everybody else. Everybody else give you the number right
We went
then.
to a small school, so we were balling. We was playing ball, so I wasn't used to it. I'm like, hold on, what you mean?
Yeah, right. Because you was that
Yeah, so now I gotta figure it out. I'm right, so let me see what's going on. So of course I had to track it down.
You gotta be thirsty for a minute.
Yeah. She's like, do you know who I am?
I just lost the homecoming.
I put up 3 touchdowns. You know who I am.
Right.
Well, did y'all have a billboard up too? Weren't you on a billboard?
Mike has a billboard.
Mike
I didn't
has-
get the billboard. But yeah, Mike.
But
has
you
a
knew
billboard.
who he was.
Yeah.
And you ain't give him no
They
play.
just said I ain't know.
I didn't really.
She
I
might
really
like
didn't. I
She
really
said she
didn't.
did.
I wasn't into
She
him.
said
Like I
she
didn't.
did.
I was in my own world.
It sounded like a Simone Bow. What's that? What, Simone and him. He
Yeah.
said he didn't know. He
Yeah.
said he didn't know. You know what I'm saying? That's the truth. Like you be in your own world, you don't know, and it's crazy.
Oh, that's funny.
So she wanted you for you.
Yeah, I was confused. I'm like, what? Okay.
That's a good thing.
I
though.
wasn't
Like
fan.
that.
I wasn't fanning.
There we go.
But yeah, we DM'd, and then eventually he got my number, and then that whole Christmas break. So that's like what this like a few weeks in December. We texted, we talked nonstop,
Oh,
and then
that's
eventually,
cute.
yeah, it grew into the relationship.
Yeah.
That next year when we got back from
like that.
winter break.
Let me hear your
Oh, that's
perspective.
sweet.
That's cute.
Because you said hers was the truth. You gotta give us the
Honestly,
real.
she was pretty
She was-
spot on. I was pretty
Okay.
down, you know what I'm saying? And I
So you gonna chunk a little time down.
was, yeah, and she made me feel better. So
He was vulnerable. He was vulnerable.
I was exposed at the
So
moment.
Yeah.
she danced on you the right time.
Hold on, what
right
you
way.
doing with that, man?
I was like, I needed that. I needed that.
I was down bad. You know what I'm
I
saying?
think it's so cute.
yeah.
It's cute. That's cute.
That's
Now, how long
what's
y'all
up.
been together since? In your total years.
She looked at him. Wait a minute.
Yeah. Why she do me like that?
Tell him how long has it been?
She testing you.
Yeah, so,
9
yeah.
years. Dang, that's a long
That's a
time.
long
That's
time.
what's up. That's like people don't even stay married that long. That's a long time, dude.
Yeah.
For real.
So we've been married 1 year, 3 months. We were in a relationship for about 8 years. On and off.
Okay, I think that's dope.
I know everybody probably hear all that music in the
That's
background.
that love, baby.
We got
That's
baby
that-
girl.
That child. My niece.
She's so precious.
She is. She really is.
When she's ready to talk, we gonna put her on the show. she gonna host for
She gonna host for
She
me.
baby
She'll
day.
take my spot.
You know, sippy cup therapy.
She laughing and everything.
Alright, so I'm gonna move to Krista Marcel. I'm sure now everybody done heard this story 1,000 times. We're gonna hear it again
it
today.
is no secret.
So tell us what happened. Marcel.
Only difference between us. Only difference
we
between our
don't
story.
remember the same story.
Y'all
No, we do. We got
don't.
two different
It's the
perspectives.
Oh,
on
this
how
gonna
we
be
met.
good.
I didn't
Yeah, I
meet him
can't
the
wait
same
to
day
do
he
this.
met me.
Wait a
So
minute.
Mine is the
Yeah,
truth.
right.
Hers
the
is-
day that
she
he met
falsified
me
hers.
was not the day I
You
met
didn't
him.
pay
No,
attention.
we met on the same day.
But I didn't remember you. Like
She
you-
looked through you. G.
Exactly. So
Oh,
right
okay.
there.
How did you look?
You
I'm like Reggie. Like
Oh.
you know who I was on. What you mean?
I wasn't
Like,
looking.
damn.
Apparently not.
I wasn't
Come
looking
on,
for that.
man.
Okay,
You
so on not December. On August
See,
24th.
already starting off on the wrong
On
foot.
August
Giving the
24th,
wrong month.
2015, this boy gave me his business card and I put it in my bowl of business cards. And then, yeah.
What business? What business did you have?
He was in his organization.
Oh,
Okay,
okay.
organization.
Yeah.
So let me start off because mine. Let me start
I'll
off with
just
the
tell
truth.
my part when you finish.
So it was August 24, 2015. I was like literally the only dude on campus with a suit on. Like no one wore a suit.
Who saw that? I would walk around like, oh my
I'm
god,
finna
he's
get
the only
there.
guy with a suit on.
I'm finna get there. It's gonna make sense. Like so, I was walking upstairs, walking past her office. I didn't go in her office with the intentions of let me give you my business card to give you this proposal of my organization on campus. It was like her and like 8 other friends in the room. She was the only one standing up. So I walked past the room and I heard chatters like, "Oh, who is he?"
But
So
not from me.
So I didn't know, but my antennas went off. Like, gotta go back.
Yeah.
Went back.
They checking.
And I got, they checking for
Let
me.
me see if I can get a dance on this.
I'm like, they checking. So I'm like, all right. So I went back, and she was the only one standing up. So I was like, dang, literally my first words was like, dang, that's my wife. Like, I don't know what, how, why. It's just like, that's my wife. So I walked into the room, and I just basically introduced myself, and I just couldn't come out and say like, hey, I want you. So I was basically like, hey, I have an organization. I'm looking to see who can I speak to about the organization. And you was like, you gave me some people, and you was like, and then I said, well, can I give you my business card?
And I said,
And at that point,
sure.
I'm like, I'm trying to give her my number. Like that was my go-to. Never pull out the phone, business card. Like boom, boom.
And I said,
She was
sure,
like,
thank you
sure.
so much. Here's mine.
No, you didn't give me the business card. You had a bowl of business cards. You was like, I'll be in
Of
contact
every
with
other
you.
man who
And
done
you-
came in and
and
gave
she
me a
threw it
business
in-
card.
This is funny.
That should have been a red flag. It was too many business
It was
cards
a
in
lot of
there.
business.
I was not thinking of that, but she threw
But
it
you
in.
was that's my wife.
Yeah, she threw it in
Yeah.
there, and I was like, all right. So I left that day, and I went about my day. A couple of days later, like my boy hit me up and was like, well, before that,
No, a couple days later.
a couple of days later.
This was so August 24th was the first day of school. So I remembered when we started class, we had a class
We had
that
a
didn't
class,
meet in
yeah.
person, but we were in the same class. And then I missed it because I was a student body president, so I was super involved with stuff on campus. So the first week of school, I was missing classes, trying to do other stuff. And so I didn't get to go to this one class, and I was looking at the roster to see if I knew anybody in there. And then I was talking to one of my friends, and she was like, "Oh, that's the dude who stopped by the office today." So I was like, "Bet, let me text him or contact him and see if he went to the class and see if they gave out a syllabus or whatever."
So you went to your bowl of business
I did.
cards.
Found his card. found
Mixed
his
them
card.
up a little bit.
Emailed him and texted him and said, "Hey, my name is Crystal. We're both in this political science class."
And I didn't text back.
You did. I said, did you attend the first day of class, and can you tell me if they passed out a syllabus or
Look.
signed anything or whatever?
So the next morning, like she worked around the corner from my office. So I go into the office, my boy, he hit me up and he was like, "Hey, did you get the text last night?" Like that. I said, "What text?" He was like, "Crystal." And I was like,
Because I told him, I
I
was
said-
like, I texted your friend and asked him did he go to
Yeah.
class, but I guess he knew that he was like checking for me. But I was like, sir,
I was
I
like-
just want
I
to know
was
if he
like,
went to
dang,
class.
do I
have-
I was like, "Do I got a Crystal in my class?" I didn't put two and two together.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, "Crystal." You know how you ever been in that situation where the girl hit you up and be like, "Hey, you up?" and you missed the I'm
You
up.
missed it, yeah.
That's how I felt. I was like, "Oh my
That's
god,
funny.
I missed
So
it."
did your homeboy know you wanted to talk to her at that
Yeah,
time?
yeah,
Okay.
spoke on
So
that.
he was trying to
Okay.
set you up, and she was
Yeah.
she was
So-
trying to get notes.
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah, I just need to know the
Oh,
syllabus.
So I hit her up like boom,
We don't
boom,
believe
and
it.
then- I mean, I got the notes. So I hit her up and then we just kind of talked, from that day on. But she never wanted me, never wanted to go on a date. So we
Why?
just
I wasn't interested.
let's tell them
This
the
is
reason why.
hilarious.
I had another man.
She had to do. Well,
You want to
no.
give him a
I
shout out?
didn't have a
You
dude.
want
Not at all.
You
Absolutely not. I'm so glad I'm not.
Funny, I got a story for you about that. No, I do
On
know.
camera,
No,
on camera.
On camera.
I got
Some
a
crazy
story.
stuff happened this past week.
Oh.
I gotta tell y'all about.
Oh,
Oh,
Lord.
wow. See, that's what we do after this. We're gonna have our little
Nah,
talk.
so-
What's going on?
So no, real quick, I fast forward. So I'm like, all right, cool. I gotta figure out a way how to get this girl on the first date.
So he would text me like good morning and said I would never respond.
Well, I watched her for the first few weeks. I
Stop
just
it.
watched her. I watched her. Because we worked in the same building. So I'm like, all right, she would go to the bookstore every day. She would get these honey barbecue Lay's chips, a Sprite, and a blueberry muffin every morning.
He sound like
You,
yeah.
I'm Philip Walker, the late night star.
No, literally, he was just like that. And so this is the reason why I really didn't want to talk to him because, like, maybe 3 weeks after we had our first interaction, I come to my office one day. And
No, we got to go back a
I said,
little
you
bit.
trying to take too long,
We
baby?
got to go back.
Oh, wow.
What are we going back to?
Homecoming. We had homecoming. Like,
Well, so
we
we
had
talking
this
about
event.
before homecoming. We talking about
How y'all
you
met?
stalking
met.
me. Yeah,
Okay,
we
we go.
talking about
All right,
dating.
go.
So how did y'all get to the point?
Well, we were literally. I came to my office one day and I had an assistant, and he was like, "Oh, I had to put something in your office." And when I got to my office, I was like, "Okay, or whatever." It was the Lay's chip, the Sprite, and the muffin with a card
In an orange bag.
in an orange bag. So that means somebody knew my favorite color. My favorite color is orange, which is not a typical girl's favorite
Yeah,
color,
That's
right?
what's up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He on
So
it.
he had it, and
That's
he
kinda
said,
scary.
"These are your favorites."
That's what's
Exactly. He said,
Oh,
"These
that's
are your
scary.
favorites," and it was in an orange bag. And he said, "Your secret admirer, or whatever." Cute gesture, wrong time. I'm a black girl
Nah.
and going to a large school. I'm just,
You just wasn't used to that type of
okay,
dude.
maybe not. Maybe not.
Damn.
So I called the police. I called the
Campus
police.
security or-
The police let me in the door though. They knew what I was
I
on.
called campus security and said, basically, somebody been watching me because this was a routine.
Yeah.
Literally, I would go in the bookstore and get the same thing every day. And everybody in the bookstore knew me. So it's not like they would have just prepared this and like, whatever.
Yeah.
So it was weird for me. And then I was the student body president. So it was always people contacting me for stuff, coming in the office late at night, all this kind of stuff,
Asking
right?
you on dates.
Asking me on dates, asking me for personal information. Just, it was weird. I was the
But-
student body
But
president.
what the card say? They asked you on a date and what you said?
What you mean?
We went on a date. Like, it wasn't that weird because we went on a
I
date.
said, what?
Well, I mean, she probably. I mean,
Anyway,
probably
besides all that, I called campus security.
Uh-huh.
Campus security was really downplaying it, like on some like you tripping, like you know you need to be more
You
grateful.
Well, I guess.
Yeah, basically, and
But
so
that
I
ain't
got
what they
upset
mean,
and
though, so they
reported
got what
the
they
campus security
Oh
because I was
my
like, "You're not
God.
taking my claim serious." No, but I didn't know that he had already talked to the campus security. They the one who let him in my office.
I talked to the building manager and everybody.
And so, but it was weird for me, and I was just being precautious. So it was like for me, like you're not taking my claim serious, and so I started tweeting out about like whoever is sending me stuff. Thank you
my
so
God.
much. Please stop. Please stop because it didn't happen once. I know I'm sounding like it happened once, but it happened like
I didn't do it twice.
Oh,
That
you
was-
did.
No, I
You
didn't.
did. when I
It was
said
one of
send
the
me a
bowl, the people in the
card.
bowl of business
He sent me a
cards.
card the next day. It
Oh,
wasn't. Everything
no,
wasn't
no, no.
once.
That-
It wasn't once. It was
I don't
like
even want to say
3
what I want
times.
to say. It does sound stalkerish.
It was like 3 days in a row.
It does sound.
And then,
well,
and then the last day
it-
was a card on my card.
Yeah.
It was a card on my card.
It was on the card.
Yeah.
Oh my
And of course, I had a student body president parking spot, so people would know what my
No,
card
it was at your apartment.
Exactly. I thought.
You wasn't no campus? You wasn't no campus?
So that's why I reported it. Somebody had
God. That's
followed
why I
me.
can see that.
Somebody had followed me because the next. So the crazy thing was that by the end of the week, when I saw the card on my apartment, I came out of my apartment like one morning and saw the card, and it was like damp. So I was like, maybe it was on there yesterday when I came home and I never saw it or whatever. But it was no telling when it got there. So that means somebody could have followed me home and put it on there.
Right.
Y'all see the crazy
Yeah, I see
stuff
that
that's
now,
happening in
yeah,
life,
yeah.
right? And
It's
so
true, I see that.
I reported it.
But I knew you knew that I knew that you knew where you stayed.
Alright.
Like we both knew what
So
we.
you're a stalker. When did you say, okay, I'm gonna give this stalker a chance?
Yeah.
Because sometimes you
One
get
day,
in.
okay, later on, like maybe
It
2
was my
months.
birthday. It was my
2
birthday.
months. No,
2 months of stalking,
No, he didn't stop me for 2 months after I had kind of like blasted it
he
out.
left you alone.
Yeah, for a little while. He didn't keep on. He would contact me, like text me good morning and stuff like that. But like I just kind of left it alone.
Can you take a hint, brother?
The boy obviously had never been turned down.
I wasn't trying to be all them dudes in the business cards.
Well, you got, but you put me in work. I mean, he had to hit the whole
But
thing.
anyway, homecoming week,
He
like I
stood
said,
out.
we both were
Yeah.
student leaders. We ended up working on a couple projects. We was working late, decorating for homecoming the next day, and everybody was leaving late. It was like 9, 10 o'clock. You know, student center campus closed, but we still up there decorating. And he was like, you want to go get something to eat? And at this point, like Chick-fil-A and everything on campus was closed, and I was like, nah, I'm good or whatever. Like, I'm good. And he was like, no, let me take you to get something to eat or whatever. And at that point, check the bank account. Money wasn't really looking like money wasn't really looking like it was looking real McDonald's. Yeah. So he was like, let me take you to get something to eat. And I was like, well, I gotta go change or whatever. And so, yeah.
Very interesting.
Yeah. Then I blocked him after that. We'll talk about that.
Okay. They not like them, but they married it. They didn't get to go. It's like part 2 for them. For real.
So how y'all meet?
Under the stars. Go ahead. Yeah, I'm not exaggerating.
You ain't tell me I was there.
They were there. Under
was
the
after,
stars.
but
This
yeah.
legit under the stars. I kid y'all not. We met there. It was the bridal party.
Our proposal party. Meet and greet.
It was real nice. So I was in the wedding, of course, and he was too. So I didn't know anybody. I just knew my cousins. I'm coming out here to kick it with them, have fun, get away from Mississippi. I wasn't looking for nothing, and
He took her under the stars.
under the stars. He had me. How long you talking? How many hours was that,
Ooh,
Crystal?
4 and a half.
Like 4 to 5 hours.
Four?
Like,
Yeah,
the
about
party
5
was
hours.
over,
Like 5
y'all, and we was looking for my cousin. Like, where did she go?
And I'm
And
outside.
Marcel was like, "Where's Steve-O?" And it was so many girls in my wedding party that was checking for Steve-O. I cannot.
And the one that wasn't checking.
Look at her. Look at her.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
When I said they were checking for him, they was like, "Who is he?"
Who is he?
Like,
Nice guy.
who is he? Like, everybody was like,
Okay.
"Who is he?" Not
Right.
bro.
That's like, but yeah, who is he? This and that.
Yes, who is he? Was rapping and stuff out loud.
He
Like, he was
did.
very
He was
entertaining.
He was being Steve.
Yeah.
Nasty.
And I can freestyle, so I was rapping. She saw me. And I'm gonna tell you what happened. When I was rapping, y'all, no lie, everybody was like, I can see everybody. And at the corner of my eye, she get up and leave, yo.
Dang.
Leave out the apartment and walk out. In the middle of me rapping, that's when I messed up. I'm like, yeah, I had the flow, and then I was like,
Weird.
Weird.
Dropped it.
So anyway, I mean,
we met at the address.
We
though.
met at the, still for there for
Yeah,
y'all
they
gathered
did meet
at
at
the
the
address
thing
and
and,
came in. We were dancing. He put his shades on me. Talking about you.
What's his name?
Yeah, tell me say about the shades.
You gotta tell what happened. They walk in. Okay, so they walk in. They was late.
I tell y'all what happened. This is what I thought when I first saw him.
Okay,
Hands
yeah.
down.
I had on my shades
like,
and I was eating
He
chicken.
is a true lame. Everybody else was up partying. Like, you know, my cousin, they like to have a good time. So everybody we at the address having a good time. He sitting there eating wings. I with some shades on. It's like the club.
We was there for a minute. I was hungry.
The guys had been there like
we
3
been
hours
there.
before we got
So I had on my shades.
So by
I'm
the time I
eating.
brought all the girls there, y'all had been chilling.
Yeah, we was chilling.
You was
They
the
was
last
late.
one.
I was getting my hair.
They was late and they came in. I seen them. I'm like, man, she kind of fun. I saw you walk in, and you know, you can't tell because I had on my shades.
Horrible.
But when they walked, they said that I still got the video. I'm gonna play the video, and I'm gonna play it on your
sure
thing.
you
She
gonna
was
play
dancing, y'all. It was funny,
I was
but
having a good time. Okay, after that I went home.
I let you. I put my shades on you.
Yeah.
No, you brought Courtney because I was trying to get you alone.
Yes, this how much I was not into Steve.
I was
Not,
like-
no shade. I just
She
wasn't
texted
into
all of us.
nobody.
I
He
said,
texted all
come.
of us.
Yeah, I was like, come take a walk with me. She's like, all right, come on,
Come
Courtney.
on, Courtney.
I'm like,
Like, mommy.
I said, all right, come on. I grabbed my bro, whoever it was. I'm like, I ain't gonna say his
I
name
think
because he in a relationship now.
Yeah.
But I was like, come on, you go play third wheel. Like she ain't
Yeah.
finna just
Yeah.
go.
So,
I was trying to throw Courtney off on somebody else.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
finna throw it. And he was just, they both, it was so funny because Courtney and my friend, they both was just standing there.
Like this, like
And we out there.
Yeah.
I took off my shades. I said, put these on, girl. This gonna make you feel like
this
another
is
person.
Steve, y'all don't understand this him for real.
And she was like, oh, okay, they do. And then, gold all in my chain came on. Gold all in my watch. I was like, you feel that? She was like, yeah. Took them off, and she started walking back to the table. I was like, she
Headed
weird.
back. So I'm weird. So anyway,
Yeah, you
so
are.
the next day we went to their. It was a house party. We went back after a real nice brunch. Went back
At
to
the
their
pool.
home, and I was smoking a hookah. And he made me get up. And he was like, "Come on, you don't need that." I'm
I
like,
said, come holler at me. And she was like, kept smoking. I'm like, come on. I said, you don't need to smoke that no way. Put that down. And you put it down. Okay.
"That's not how I said it." But
I said,
I
but before that, I asked Crystal. I was like, "Hey, what's up with your cousin?" And she was like, "This is what happened." Marissa swear it didn't happen, but I hope Crystal can clarify. I said, "Crystal, what's up with your cousin? I ain't leaving without her." I told Marcel that I'm leaving with her, and I said, "Crystal, what's up with her? Go just see if she interested or whatever, you know." And I'm gonna make a move. You ain't gotta say nothing. So she's over there. You was over there sitting with Courtney and Chelsea, her cousins, and they were talking. And Crystal, I'm playing spades and I'm winning. So when I'm playing spades and winning, can't nobody. I feel good. You know what I'm saying? So Crystal came over, and everybody called me Uncle Steve-O. So Uncle Steve, she said she interested. I said, say less.
It's not.
Bow.
Now I can clear. You know, Chris. Okay, I was single.
I
They didn't
said
want me
she's
to be
single.
single
I said
forever.
she's single.
No, she
You know,
said
they
she's
gonna want
interested.
I said she gonna be interested.
And I can see you saying that.
Well, I
She gonna be interested.
She gonna be
Anyway.
interested. Just go ahead.
Right. So
No.
so anyway, we
She
left
gonna be
there.
But I went over there. No, I gotta say this part. I went over there. You was over there talking, and I'm talking. Courtney, Chelsea, and Marissa was literally, what's the word I'm looking for?
Gossip.
Grilling me.
Yeah, really.
Oh.
With questions. So I'm like, they must be grilling me for her. She interested. They grilling me. What you do? Well, how long you been there? I'm like, yeah. I'm talking. I'm hitting them. In the middle of the conversation, Marissa gets up and leave.
I just wasn't, interested.
I'm like, girl, you know who I am? You know who I am? So that's when I went over and got you from the hookah because she was smoking hookah, and then we went off.
Long story short, we sat on there 5 hours under the stars.
The party was over. People was
Everybody
gone home. The
gone.
builders had came and got the stuff. And I was like, "What? No, you rolled with Chelsea."
Chelsea left
And
me.
Chelsea left her and was like, "I don't know where Marissa.
Yeah,
It's
she
2
left
o'clock in the
us.
morning.
Oh, she got her out.
I'm finna go." And I was like, "I think she out there talking to Steve,
Yeah.
Marcel." Marcel was like, "Dang,
A long
sheesh."
time. Right. I did that.
And then y'all never came back in.
Never
Yeah,
came back.
and and
I was calling y'all was ignoring the call.
I think
Yes.
my phone was dead or something too.
But
And
you
her
know,
phone
low-key-
ended up dying.
At that point, you don't want to admit it.
But you
was
were out there
interested at
because
that point.
Yeah, we
You was
talked about it.
interested at that point.
Because ain't nobody
Yeah, you ain't have to be
yeah.
Some of the stuff was good.
I mean, you start talking about the star. Like, you had that.
But look, tell her, I'm gonna tell you what happened. I was like, look at the stars, girl. She looked. I say, what you see? She say, stars. I'm like, stars? I'm like, nah, girl, you gotta look at them for what they can be. They big, like I see opportunity. I'm throwing it out. And she was like, oh.
Ew.
I'm like, now what you see? She was like, opportunity. I see for more than everything I said. I'm like, get out of here.
So long story
I
short,
like it.
that's how we met, and we've been talking every day since.
Every day, every day
since
since.
then we
Yeah.
talk.
Cute.
Long distance and all. So I know everybody told their story how they met, but what were the qualities? Now the phone, I can see that her not giving you her number. I bet that was like real big for you. Like, oh yeah, that's
I
it.
wasn't used to that.
So Marcel, what were some of the qualities that Krista had that you was like, yeah, this
I
is
gotta
it.
have
I
her.
just gotta have her.
Well, it was a couple. One, she made me chase her. You know, like I said, at that time, I was a man on campus, so I didn't have to chase anything. And so she made me chase her. Number two, for what I never even seen her go to church or anything like that, but I just seen a God-fearing woman. Like, when there's like a light in you, you see it. And that light was shining that day. So I seen her. Cause it was like in a room, it was 9 other women. And for some reason, I heard like multiple, but when I came back, I only saw one. So that's basically it. That was one of those things for me.
Good job, baby.
Krista, what you got?
What
What was the quality you had that was
Besides stalking.
Besides, I know she like to
That's a good quality.
It was, honestly, after a while, it was the persistence. Honestly, like, you know, like I feel like as humans, we go after what we can't have or what somebody tells us we can't have because we always want to prove a point. And so I feel like he wanted to prove a point, but not to other people. He wanted to prove to himself as well that he could talk to me or even like me or whatever. And so after that, I guess it was just kind of like, I just, you know, it was the persistence. The persistence, and then we matched on a lot of levels. So after we started talking, so after we actually went on that first date, during the day, he told me, he was like, I'm so sorry. And I was like, wow, what's wrong? And I had braces. I really thought I had like, what did I say? I thought I had like broccoli or something in my teeth because he was like, I'm so sorry. Don't be like mad at me. He like looking at me crazy. And I was like, okay, what's wrong or whatever. And he was like, you gonna be my wife. He told me this on the first day, y'all. And I text all my, I was like, I gotta go to the bathroom. Text my friends and was like, y'all need y'all call me and make up an excuse. This man crazy. Right. He really is crazy. Like we thought he was just being generous, but no, he crazy. So they called me and was like, we got an emergency, this and that, something happened, whatever. And I was like, yeah, I really gotta go. And whatever, I'll pay for my food or whatever. And he was like, no.
But you couldn't go. I drove you.
You did, but I was
back
ready to
then,
go.
dating was different. You can go on a date together, get in one car. Now you gotta go separate. But back then, we got
he picked me up and everything. It was cool, but I just thought it was weird. And so, anyway, long story short, I think it was the persistence. He just showed me a different world that no other guy I had ever
I like that.
dated show me.
I just think it's funny how, it's just, you would think like fairy tales exist. Obviously, y'all had y'all situations and y'all ended up getting married and stuff, but it never happens how the storybook tells us. Like, Buddy did all that stuff to him. He doing this stuff to stand out, and for you, it was like, you crazy.
It wasn't that he was crazy. It was I loved it. I think I had the standard of this is how I want to be treated. I just think the weirdness of it, like in today's society. Like, you have so many people being kidnapped. And I'm from Mississippi.
I changed her tires in her car. One day, I was like, hey, let me change those. Let me
All
pay.
four?
All four. She had one flat. She had one flat. The crazy thing is she called me, though. She was like, hey. So I was like,
y'all wasn't together and she called you?
We weren't together.
I didn't know who to call. My dad
She called me.
phone.
So I get off. I'm telling my boss, I gotta go. I got a jet. I'm thinking like it's an emergency. It's not. So I go to her. I'm like, hey, take my car. I had a brand new car. I'm like, take my car. Take it to the campus. Don't wreck it. I took her car. Went and got her 4 new tires.
You paid for them?
I paid for them.
Did she get your money?
No, I didn't even ask. She got mad at me.
She
got mad at me. She took off of work and went and ghosted me for the rest of the week. And when I talked to her like that, it happened like on a Monday. On a Friday, she was like, you can't do nothing like that for me ever again.
Yeah,
Why?
I didn't like that.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's
Because
a lot.
I didn't want to owe anybody
Yeah.
anything. I wasn't that girl. So like, you know, like in today's society now, so many girls are, you know, they want a dude to pay for so much stuff for
That's
them.
true.
I wasn't a rich
It's
girl,
changed.
but I also wasn't like I wasn't a gold
Needy.
digger. Yeah, I wasn't like, oh, I'm gonna let this dude pay for this.
Why
Like
you
the
pay
meal
for
was
it?
cool.
Well, like,
you
like
know,
she just said, like she didn't know what. You know, she didn't know who to call but me because her dad wasn't here. So
yeah, I didn't.
And
I was here by
You
myself.
felt that responsibility.
my dad always told me when you change one, you almost got to change two almost. And so I looked at the back two tires and they was bad too. So I'm like, let me get them all taken care of at the one time. So I was looking at it from a man perspective, not even like you owe me anything. Like I think that's a difference. Like some men be like, I'm gonna do this so you can owe me. I was like, you don't owe me nothing.
Yeah,
I'm
but at
just
that
doing
time,
this
I
for-
just wanted to make sure I didn't owe something. Like,
Right.
and I called my mom and my daddy and told them like this friend guy of mine. Like, I had one, I had a flat tire, but it turns out the two on the back was very thin, and then it was only one that would have been worn out in a couple months. So he got all four. My dad was like, well, make sure you ask him how much it costs. And, you know, they was gonna pay for it or whatever.
Especially
But
in college.
yeah, like I'm saying,
Especially
like
when you got it.
homie spend his
Right.
refund on me
Yeah,
some
yeah.
tires.
That was a
Like, I'm
That was a
sure.
refund money?
No, that wasn't a refund.
That was a credit card. That was his
Hey,
first
what
credit
was
Hey,
card.
what was you doing?
Ran it up. He wasn't doing that.
I mean,
Oh,
I
new
don't
tire?
remember.
Hey.
You moving a little bit, huh?
Right.
Oh, new tire?
I don't know what it was at that time.
So I mean, AJ, Crystal, and Marissa, both, all three of them said, you know, that's too much. You know, that's too much.
Yeah. That's a lot.
I mean, I haven't done that before, but have you ever done that for her? Or, you know,
As
early
far
on,
as-
early on in your relationship, just kind of overextend your hand.
No, I didn't have it.
Yeah.
But you know what? I honestly feel like the difference with Marcel is Marcel was so used to women falling all over him,
Yeah.
and I didn't, and I feel like he felt like he had to prove a point because I looked like I was on some type of caliber where I needed to be wined and dined. Well, I was a regular girl. I had standards, but I
Yeah,
think
her
he,
tires were bald.
No,
I
I disagree in a sense
okay.
because I'm a natural. Like I have two different love languages. One, I have a love language.
giving.
One I want to receive, and then I have one where I want to give
Yeah.
as well. So,
But you
I'm
can
just-
love me.
but it's just love language. I mean, if you say love language, but it's a part of who you are too.
Yeah,
Like this is
yeah.
what I do. This is who I am, and I wanted to give
trying
at
to
that
buy
point. At that point, what I told her was, I'm gonna do for you what I never done for any other girl. I'm gonna still give.
Because you
Just like-
never had to work that hard for a girl. That's the difference. What I'm saying, you were used to girls coming up to you and being for you, and this time you had a girl who was like, I ain't really checking for you. That's cute. Whatever.
She pulled my name out that bowl. I'm gonna do this.
Right.
I'm the lucky winner.
Funny. All right, Reggie, AJ, what's the policy?
You gonna go first?
For me, I would say it's kind of like the opposite for them. So like I was that girl, and so guys would approach me and they would do the most.
Yeah.
They would do the most, and it would come off corny to me. Like, oh, he a lame, he doing too much, trying to be flashy or too much talking. Reggie, he was just chill. Like he
Laid
didn't do
back.
the most. Like he didn't do anything for
Makes so much sense.
We just had really good conversation. Like we just vibed so well, and it was so natural. Like it wasn't forced. Nothing
Yeah,
about it was
I like
forced.
that.
It was just natural. He didn't do the most. I definitely didn't do the most, and it just flowed.
It flowed,
And
yeah.
so that's what really held my attention.
That's dope.
I like that a lot. What you got, Red?
I mean, she had me chasing from the first day, so I had to figure out what was going on.
That's dope.
So, and then she just she held herself to a different perspective. I'm not gonna lie.
Like when you
And-
say that, you mean like
Yeah, to a
She
higher
has-
standard. Like,
she was that girl.
Yeah.
And she moved
How
like
much I
that.
quit?
and you gotta understand, like I said, we went to a small university, and I didn't hear of her. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, she wasn't. Her name wasn't in the streets.
Yeah,
like that. Yeah.
nobody knew of her.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, let me figure out what's going on with
Yeah.
her. You know what I'm saying?
So
So
you was lame. But go ahead.
she wasn't
He's talking
lame,
about,
but
like,
you know,
the-
Like she wasn't.
This is-
She wasn't the girl that everybody on the team had
football
already
team.
talked
Yeah,
to.
bro, you know,
Yeah.
it's 80, 90
Nobody
dudes.
knew her.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, she might definitely be special then.
Question. Now you said, I think Steve being funny asked about the 4 tire. You was like, I ain't have it. I couldn't did that if I was in college. But you said that she held herself to that standard, like you noticed that. So did you ever feel, I wouldn't say intimidated, but feel like, I don't know, maybe just a little too much, something. And I have received it in the past. I'm wondering, did you feel that? Because she was that girl,
A little bit, but at the same time, I was kind of high on myself, so I was like,
Okay.
you know what?
Facts.
Yeah,
Right.
I gotta prove myself now.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know what I'm trying to
I
say?
like that.
And he stayed in his lane. He took me to Chili's for a date. Like,
That's sweet.
I think that was my first date at Chili's.
Yeah, but I'm saying,
But
like,
that's-
you want to go to this cab or you want to go to
And we finna get this 2 for $25.
You know, share the dessert. You know what I'm saying? We're going to kick it. Right?
Better get water.
Yeah.
No, I think that's important though. You know what I'm saying? Like I think a lot of you know that's funny. She said that like a lot of dudes do too much. You know what I'm saying? But it just you know it just really depends on the girl, man. Cause how they
But Crystal was extra, so it was like
What?
you wanted to match her extra.
we had to match.
But the difference
the
was I
tire
didn't
stuff
require-
wasn't matching it. It was just that's who I
You
am.
just want
But I think I'm naturally extra, but I never required that from a counterpart. Like I'm gonna be me over here by myself. Like I was gonna be me whether I was with Marcel or just by myself. But the thing is, I never needed somebody to match that extraness. But Marcel turns out just happened to be just as extra as I
individual,
was.
yeah.
Yeah. So that I think that's what made it work.
All right, what's yours?
No,
What's my
you
quality?
first. You first.
Look at me, I'll mix what's mine. But okay, so I tell everybody one thing.
I've never
if
heard
not
this before.
Yes, he have. One thing, if not the biggest thing that made me like stick to Steve was that I'm a person like I'm very scary. I can't watch scary movies. I don't like nightmares, none of that. And I think I had a nightmare. I was working my second job. I worked overnight, and I worked at a mental illness like group home. So I had to work with those individuals overnight by myself. And I had like this nightmare, and I called Steve like maybe 2, 3 in the morning, something like that. And he answered, and I was like, I just had a nightmare. You know, I'm just, kind of shaking up. I was like really scared because I'm by myself. My mama ain't here. Like I'm with I'm their leader for the night. Their caretaker. And he didn't do nothing. He was just like, well, let me pray for you. And I was like, oh, that's it.
Oh, I love it.
I couldn't do that. And I was like, yeah, I got to go with that because
Stop it.
too much. But if nothing else stands, prayer gonna always stand. If nothing else, God gonna always like carry you all the way through. And I'm like, well, if he believed that much, like we all went to church. Me and Chris, we all went to the same church, and we like for real Sunday school prayer meeting.
Bro, you
we
tearing
were
up
there.
for real?
So that's
touched
funny.
me.
Yeah, so
Not even trying.
yeah. And I went to work, like I literally went to work the next day and was telling out, like I was supervisor at the time at CPS Mississippi, and I was telling the people I supervised, I was like, y'all, he prayed for me, like that just did something to me. And that was like so happy because most of the guys I was talking to before, they probably wouldn't answer the phone.
Didn't know the Lord.
And anything like major, like, we working together,
Or they would
like
have like, man,
growing.
you tripping, go back
Yeah, go back to bed.
Yeah,
Like,
go
girl, go to
to
sleep. It's a nightmare. And I'm just
Drink
like,
some water.
drink some water, drink some milk, something like that. And it was just, they knew God, but it wasn't like on that level, And then Steve he's a minister too, so it was like a totally different thing. But not only that, okay, so that's when I realized Steve saw something me that I ain't see in myself. A whole lot. Like he potential at a whole high.
Is this Oprah?
But he see my potential at a whole high, like legit. And everybody else, like that's why as Reggie, okay, when she that girl, how did you feel? Because we had people, I'm sure Kristen dealt with that a whole lot because we from wherever we're from, and I'm sure you have. Well, she too big for me. I ain't got, I'm gonna step back, or I ain't gonna do all that. Or one, I can't compete
I'm not
with
gonna
that.
chase her.
I'm not.
Yeah.
I got girls who come to me any time of the day. And it's just like this was totally different. So those were just some of the qualities. He's a gentleman or whatever, and it was just like a lot. But what really had me to fall in love with Steve when he started becoming like real close to my family, my mom, like so my brother died in like 2015, so Steve became like her real son. Like this was her son. You can't say nothing to Steve, everybody get mad or it's gonna be an issue, a problem. This was hers. And like he would call her, they'd play on the phone, this and that, and we never had that before in life. Like my whole family, we never had that. So everything was like new, and it's like, okay, this is what I want my family to be like growing up. This is my kids, they kids, everybody, we gotta live this life. This is what we doing. So
He
like
really
those
crying.
I'm sure.
Y'all kiss each other
Hey,
now?
just keep going.
When's your turn?
Nah,
It's real. It's real.
That's so sweet,
such a good
Steve.
episode. Nah, it's just
Nah,
me,
this is real. This is
yeah, go ahead, baby, you can finish.
Well, yeah, so I mean, that was a quality, and I'm sure he saw a lot of me. Like I said, he see what I can't see in myself. You always pray. Like, I pray, and I'm sure y'all do the same. Like, God, show me Steve the way you see him, and show me the way you see me. I want to see him the way God see him. Because if we see him the way we see him, it ain't all that. So, it's just like a totally different level. But I remember you just bringing up love languages. Now that's when we have a little issue because his love language is physical touch, and I ain't used to that. I'm not like the intimacy stuff, trying to be on each other. Like I am so not used to that. So we have a tug of war with that a lot. So that's when we kind of the love language thing because like I've was single for like a long time, so I just been by myself. Like I've been with Maritza, I ain't been with Steve, and so the love language thing is it's like hard for me to get past. So what about y'all?
Well, I gotta say my.
I ain't think you were gonna say it. That's why I
I said what got me though was for real about you. One thing about her that I noticed, I'll keep it short, cause I ain't finna do all that on her. But she hate when I say it. Because she, real talk, she do a lot for a lot of people, you know what I'm saying? And I seen that off rip, like when I met her, it was just always, I'm doing this for my church. Gotta go decorate, I gotta go do this. And she's taking on responsibilities that she's never done before for other people. And I'm like, Riz, you ain't gotta do that. Well, they asked me to do it, but she's doing it. Somebody wanted her to sing. She traveling, going. She's so selfless when it comes to that, and that attracted me. And she always be like, what else do you see? Because I'm really attracted to that. I love that she loves people. And it gives me a balance because I've had bad experiences. I was similar, right, growing up, and you know. How I was especially when I hit college and just really just kind of putting myself out there and taking care of people as much as I could, whether it was paying bills or buying 2 new tires or whatever the case is, and I got burned a few times just off of that. So for her to see her, and she's going with getting hit, hitting with punches and stuff, people don't treat her as good as they could, and like she still do what she does. I'm like, yo, like you stronger than what you think, and that's what I saw in there. I'm like, you strong, G. Like I don't know nobody like you for real, and I can only compare you to one other, and it's like you're amazing for that because I couldn't do that no more. I got hit too many times, but she balances out and she's always finding the good in people, But what early on too, what got me, when I had foot surgery, when we met in June, I went back home. We went to Cancun or somewhere in July, and this whole time I'm kicking it up until that. Like I was selling 20 cars. I was a car salesman then, and I'm selling 20 cars a month, so I'm making good money. We traveling. I'm like, man, and I got this girl in Mississippi, and what really got me, she made my mom smile. My mom was taking care of me. I guess she do baby me. She said my mama baby me, but she was taking care of me when I had foot surgery, and while I was down, I told her, I was telling her like I was off, whatever medication they gave me, and I'm just like, yeah. My mom and dad used to write letters because my dad, they didn't have phones back then. So my dad would be at Mizzou, he'd be at college, and my mom would be with her daughter back in St. Louis, and they were writing letters. I'm telling her that. And September I had my surgery. It was a Monday. The next day or the next couple of days, I got a package in the mail from Maritza. And it was a bunch of crossword puzzles because I was going to be off my foot for like 3 months. A bunch of crossword puzzle books, some coloring books or something like that.
That's cute though.
And she wrote this long letter telling me how we were going to start writing letters. You know what I mean? And when my mama saw that, she smiled. And I was like, dang, that's what's up. And I'm still off the medication. I wrote my letter right then, so I don't know what I said to her, but it was bad, I'm sure. But we started writing letters. That was early part for our long distance relationship. Like we wrote letters every month. For I would say almost for a year. We wrote letters every month. And every
Did
time.
y'all talk about something separately from what y'all were talking about on the phone? Like, was it just random?
Sometimes it was random. Sometimes it was continuation. Sometimes it was, hey, you hurt my feelings with this.
Oh yeah, I can't. Now I know I'm a therapist. I got a therapist has a therapist, but I am not a person that can verbalize how I feel. I would type, I would write, or I just leave it in. And so I'm like, well, I can at least write until they hurt my feelings today.
Yeah.
Like, you really
So I used to
did
get
that.
some hate mail.
I see why you do that though.
Yeah, it's hard for me to verbalize sometimes, you know. But we got the qualities out the way. After everybody, y'all really, it was all nice. I liked it. Everybody did something so dope. That was nice. So the love language, we ain't gonna get into everything I want to talk about. We're gonna have a part 2. We're gonna have to because all this is really, really good. But and I want to talk about teams because a couple, like y'all married, so y'all, we ain't gonna even say nothing. We learning. So at this point, how important is it to be a team player? Like legit on the same page. What is the same page? That's the question. Cause me and him, we get to it all the time about that. What is your same page for y'all? What does it look like?
I would say with us, for where we are in our lives, it would be a little bit different from you all, which is good. So right now we're new parents, and so being a team is super important because it's a lot. It's a huge responsibility when you bring a child into play. It's not just about us two anymore. It's about another human being. So balancing each other out and making sure that I'm not losing my mind being a first time mom and taking on everything, and he's coming in when he can to help out and to just balance everything out so we can still be sane and still have enough at the end of the day for each other as well. So just balancing it out with the new baby is big for us right now, and we're still working through it. Like we haven't figured it out yet.
Y'all did a job though. I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know.
Y'all make it look
easy.
I'm not.
And she a good baby, y'all. Like she really
She's
in
so
her own
precious.
zone.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't watch y'all on numerous occasions. Y'all walk in, you have the baby, and then
he
you
come
chilling,
get
and he
her.
come get her.
Yeah, it's like a real team.
We see the teamwork.
Yeah,
it's
it's just fluently. Like you can just see
Very
how
true.
fluent it is.
Yeah, we talk about it a lot. You know, it's good to see that. You know, and just have that example. You know, around you. You know, especially with people that you admire or love. You know, so.
Yeah.
Very true. All right, Red, you got anything to add?
Yeah, man. Exactly what she said. And I'm not gonna lie, like even like when we go to the grocery store together, it looked like a pit crew. You know, I'll grab the baby, I'll put the baby in the car, she's grabbing groceries, you know, starting the vehicle, you know what I'm saying? And everything is just like, it just works well. And it took a little time, but now that we got it, like it works perfectly. And it's just like, it's one of them things you just gotta keep getting at. You gotta keep doing.
Was it hard to kind of stop being selfish with just y'all two? Before, you know, when the baby got here, like, dang, it ain't just about us no more. Like, how does that feel?
Of course, it was harder for me. You know, as a mother, she's natural. Yeah, she's going to be a nurturer. She's going to give. You know, so for me, I had to. All right, I got to understand. Yeah, I got to understand that I have to be more patient. I have to be, you know, more involved.
I like that.
I love that.
Yeah, it's really, really good. All right, what does the same page of teamwork look like for y'all?
I think in our lives the difference is we don't have a child, but I think the difference is we're very both deep into our careers right now. So a lot of our struggle just in the last year, it's like in marriage as teams, the goals change weekly, daily, monthly, yearly. So like whereas last year our goal was, you know, we want to get a house. Let's work towards that. So that was our goal. A year before that it was we worked towards the marriage. Let's have a wedding, you know. And so now this year we kind of, I think being on the same page for us this year was finding our own individuality and then still being able to connect while being individual people. The weird part about Marcel and I is when we really did get to dating, much like y'all didn't stop talking. Once after November 1st of 2015, Marcel and I really ended up.
Every day.
We talked or saw each other every single day, and it wasn't until March 2016 he had to go somewhere, and it was the first time we were gonna separate from each other, and we had major separation anxiety.
No.
Like
we
I'm talking about both of us cried. It was really weird. We were so obsessed with each other.
I did.
Yeah, we both cried. We had never in 4 or 5, 6 months, we had never separated from each other, never not seen each other. And so it was weird. And so I think, you know, being on the same page, just understanding how each other feel. I think we're in a season now where we communicate so much better because we're at a point where we're like, honesty between each other is more important than one person feeling left out in a relationship. Marcel accepted a new position a couple months ago, so he's a VP at his company, which takes a lot of time. I only see Marcel once a week, and so when I see him once a week, it's kind of like, dang, like, you know, I want some intimacy, I want to hang out, but I still got stuff I need to do on the weekend and stuff like that. So being on the same page is understanding that I want to do stuff, he want to do stuff. We got to find that time for each other in between and still be our own individual person. Because for a long time, we could not be anything other than Marcel and Crystal. Yeah. And this year, I think we finally figured out how to be Marcel and Crystal here, but Marcel can still be Marcel and Crystal can still be Crystal.
I think the most part is just the communication part. Like, because she can have a page, I can have a page, and we may not even know it. So when we communicate with one another and say, okay, what does this look like for us? Like, what do we want to do? What do we want to be? And when we communicate that, so for like right now, the main struggle is, and we're on the same, or we're getting there, but like the main struggle is I travel, out of 52 weeks in a year, I have to travel like 48 to 49 weeks out of the year. Like, so Tuesday through Friday. And so throughout the week, like, you know, the stuff at the home that I would usually do or stuff that I need to get taken care of, Crystal's like, let me help you out. Like,
I gotta take the trash
out,
girl.
What can I do? Like, being a team. or like, you know, she may help me get organized in my calendar, stuff like this, little stuff like that to help me be on. Because the main thing is making sure your mental health is taken care of, right? And so, you know, like last week, she was like, hey, I just want to make sure we're on one accord. What can I do to help you? Let's just sit down, decompress, let's talk or whatever. Because that's the main thing. We want to make sure that you're good. And the second thing is like, all right, now when I come home on Friday evenings, I'm tired, just working, traveling all week. But then I have to understand from, you know, just by communication, just hearing her, she wants to go X, Y, Z or do X, Y, Z, be everywhere. Like she want to do things. And so I have to like set that aside because we communicated with one another and I'm trying to be, I think the thing about being that teamwork, you have to be selfless. Like, you know, one of the qualities Steve will say you have is you got to be selfless. So I have to like stop being selfish and say, okay, if I can put so much effort into my job, then I have to put that much more effort into my marriage as well. On Friday, Saturday, Sunday, knowing I'm going to leave out Monday morning, and that's just what it requires. And so here lately, that's what we've been, you know, working on as far as that. Our team work has changed over the course of the year. And that's what we're dealing with right now. But the main thing is just making sure you understand each other's pages, communicate with one another.
Saying what you need and what you want.
Right.
Because needs change as well.
And being selfless at the end of the day.
And even in those needs, you know, people think when you get married, and this is just a misconception of marriage, and I think Marcel thought it too. People think when you get married, that means you have sex every day. That means you like each other every day. That means you romantic every day. And it's not. It's being married is literally teamwork. Like, getting married is the fun part. Staying married is the work. It's the work. And so, you know, we talk about it all the time, like things that we need, like, you know, sex isn't even our top priority what we need right now. Like it's something more so like we want to talk to each other. We want to spend time. Like my love language is intimacy and cuddling and touching each other. Like I want to lay on you all day. Right. Like, you know, so you know, those type of things. So when you communicate those things, I think that's how you end up on the same page.
I like that. And I agree, communication is key. You know, you got to communicate what you need, what you want. They can't read minds. That's just that. Right. And this is a mental health platform. Everybody know that. It's wine therapy. I'm a therapist. And one of my biggest things that I've seen over time is that our emotional state can be hindered by anything in life. We get, you know, hit every day, work, COVID, all of this stuff, and y'all in marriages. Now, I always ask people, do you know how to be emotionally available for your partner? Do you know what they need? For example, Steve mad. Steve on a hug. Y'all think I'm lying. Let me by myself. But Steve on a hug. You got, you know, be sweet to him, be nice, because that, you know, that's what he want. You know, I always say his mom baby him. That's the relationship they got or whatever. But when
she don't be hugging me like that.
But when Steve, you know, in emotional state, or do you know when your spouse is having this emotional time, like, oh, you ain't yourself. Like, and if you don't talk about it, you gonna have like a mental breakdown and you're gonna be in the hospital, this and that. Yeah. So I want to bring up before we leave today, like how do you know when your partner is having that moment? Can you read them, or how do you know? What do they do?
I was gonna say, you know, with that, it's kind of funny, but you know, I think it's, you know, you should know anyway. I mean, I think everybody would know naturally if something's different about that person. It's the hard part for me and, you know, and for you is how to respond to it.
Yeah,
like what to say, like even more so.
What to say? I have a smart mouth.
More so recently.
And I can tell that Steve has been, you know, it's a lot. Whatever he dealing with, what he dealing with. You know, I'm a woman. I stay in my lane. When you need me, I can be there.
When I'm going through what I'm going through,
I can't have a smart mouth.
I just be quiet. I don't want to talk. You know, like I just want to get through my day at that point because a million things, or not a million things, but everything that I'm dealing with, I'm focusing on a solution, or I'm focusing on mentally staying fit, and strong to get through that situation. So Maritza, her love language, which is not on the love language chart, is talk. I want to talk. Like, she want to talk. So if I'm not talking to her, it's like, what's wrong with you? What's the problem? And I'm like, yo, it's nothing wrong. Just let me be. I'm just trying to figure it out. We can still hang. We can still eat. We can still laugh. Like, we had just the other day, we were talking, laughing, joking, and I'm moving around. After we get done laughing and joking, I'm still thinking about what I need to do. Well, what's your problem? And I'm like, Marissa,
I can't come in him like
I don't need that right now. Like, I just need you to, I said, I just need you to hold me. Just say I love you. Hey, I got you. Whatever it is, you go get through it, because obviously right then and there, I'm not ready to communicate it with you or discuss it with you because, I still have to figure it out myself.
Yeah. It's a learned behavior though.
Yeah, and it's like, I'll be like, girl, leave me alone. She be like, what is that? What are you doing?
But at the same time, I'm the same way. I want to talk things through. I want to talk it out because I feel like you hold so much in. One day you're gonna snap.
Truly, we talk to hold stuff in.
We gotta talk about it.
Exactly. And men are.
We talk.
Men are. Y'all are.
I hold it in, but
talk to hold it in. So what I did yesterday, I'm like, Steve, he would still won't talk to me about what's going on.
I said the other day, but it was yesterday. She said yesterday.
And I'm like, this dude's still tripping.
Tell her what you did. Tell her what you did. Go ahead.
Okay. What I do?
Go ahead. She started going in.
I went in, I was like, Marissa, that ain't no.
What I say?
You was like, I don't need it right now. You like, I don't. That's what I don't need.
Yeah, it's like that's what I don't need.
And so what I decided to do, I'm like, okay, sometimes it's when we gotta put the first foot forward. Let us do something, cause y'all ain't gonna talk about it. Maybe not right then. You still have your attitude or whatever it is, because you're dealing with other stuff that ain't got nothing to do with us. But you're affecting us by not talking about it.
Exactly.
So what I did, I took Steve on a date last night.
That's what's up.
Legit, and he, baby, talk like nothing. I mean, he still ain't told me that, but he was so, you could tell.
I was happy.
He needed it.
I did. And I told her
we gotta do something totally different. So, like, what do y'all do?
That was dope.
What do y'all do?
I was talking.
I almost paid though.
No,
you did.
I was just telling Crystal that last night. I was like, that's really, really, because I think you say you give him flowers every now and then.
She gives me flowers.
Just from the outside looking in, that's dope. Because I mean, I just look at it like, the perception is like men can't receive flowers. Yeah. Or men can't be taken on dates.
Once a week.
Or men don't need words of affirmation.
And so for you to do,
and we need all that.
And that just changes the game. But for me, it's just like we have to voice those things though. Like, one of the things me and Crystal struggled with at the very beginning of our marriage, even relationship, was we expected one another to think how we wanted them to feel. Like, so I was like, oh, you shouldn't know. Like, I think someone did a podcast. But basically on the podcast they was talking about like they get upset because they feel like you've been knowing me, like, man, you and I have been knowing each other for 6 years, and it's like, if I'm not talking to you, you should know that I'm upset. And I think that's the misconception. I think that's very wrong, because now I expect you to read my mind. And you can't do that. So, like, just the other day, Crystal was like, hey, let's just, I know you gotta work, and I was out of town. She was like, can you just give me an hour of your time? Let's just sit down and let's talk. And she's like, this is what's going on. I can feel this. I may be wrong. And let's just talk. And so now I was more willing to relinquish how I felt versus her just antagonizing and say, oh, I know you're upset, or this is what's going on. And so we was able to talk things through. So I think number one is just like, don't expect or don't just assume that your partner is supposed to know everything about you. Sure. And then when it comes for the love language thing as well, like, you can't just know, like, Crystal love language, I think a woman more so love language change, or everyone love language change on a weekly, bi-weekly, monthly basis. It doesn't. It's never the same. So I was like, all right, cool. So I can't expect. I have to expect you to tell me like, hey, what's changed about you? I mean, I'm learning at the same time because I'm observing, but at the same time, I want you to kind of tell me like, oh, the flowers, the gift giving was a nice gesture, but I want you to hold me this time, like, So it's just that communication aspect of it. That's how. We're learning and we're dealing with those things.
What was the actual question?
It was like 2 and 1. I'm sorry, but like, so I think like, okay, so do you know when you need? Are you emotionally available for your spouse? Emotionally, not your presence. Are you emotionally? Emotion is a whole nother. That's a whole nother ball game.
Sometimes it's hard to be emotionally
It
present
is.
for people. People, period. Like you have to set boundaries in your marriage too. Cause some days Marcel be having a hard day, and he feel like he can take it out on me. Like I'm asking him a question like, well, what we gonna eat, or what you want to eat, or something like that. And he like, bro, just cook something, or like,
But I'm not gonna lie. I'm glad Chris brought it up because I ain't gonna lie. I didn't know you had to like set boundaries in the marriage.
You do. You have to because and that's the difference. And when I say set boundaries,
You talking about for each other? Like
no, I set boundaries with. I don't throw everything I'm dealing with at work off on Marcel. Like I don't expect him to emotionally handle my baggage that I'm dealing
I
with.
can't fix that.
And that's what he can't fix, and it's wrong to throw it on him. That's why when you say, "Are you emotionally available?" Sometimes all the mess Marcel be dealing with, I'm not emotionally available to deal with the fact that the people on your team ain't doing what they supposed to be doing, or that you having a crisis at work and now you gotta fix all this stuff, or that you ain't gonna be home for 2 weeks. Like I can't emotionally handle all that sometimes by myself. So sometimes it's selfish to throw all your baggage on your partner.
Yeah.
And so I've learned that. And so like even when I'm having a bad day or somebody that made me mad or upset me, I'm learning just myself not to throw it all off. I may talk to him about it.
I was just gonna say that. Yeah.
I may talk to him about it, open up about it, express how I feel about it, but not throw it on him.
Or not expect me to like, all right,
To know that
change
something's
it or
wrong.
not. Yeah.
Because I'm the type of person, I'll shut down really quickly. And so when I shut down, Marcel automatically thinks like, what I do. Like every time I shut down, Marcel, what I do. He want to know what he did, and that's selfish.
So I guess
that's how both of us deal. That's how both of us deal with it.
If
I'm overwhelmed, I don't talk to. I won't talk to him. I'm just wrapped up in what I got going on, and he's thinking like, so what did I do? Like what's wrong? And I'm like, it's not you, but just understand what I'm going through. And just let me deal with it.
But do you
hold on, and then he mimics me. Like if I'm feeling down, then he get mad too.
And then I was like, okay, so let me go.
The energy is off.
I do that.
But
if I'm having a energy rubbed off on him, don't join in.
Yeah.
I get that. That energy just rubbed off.
Feed off of it. But but I'm asking, do you make it clear that it's not him? Because like I stay to myself, but I always make it clear, Riz. It ain't got nothing to do with you. We good. Before I even have my little funk.
Okay.
Like, do you make it clear?
Probably in the midst of it, but not before.
No, after he done asked.
I think if you communicate that, I think if you communicate it, because when I go through, I'm like, hey, I'm dealing with such and such.
I give you that. And you
like,
say,
blah, blah, blah. And she asks me still, every day, is it me? What did I do? And I'm like, it ain't you. I told you 4 days ago.
Do y'all, I just want to piggyback off that. Like, when you come, because it seems like everybody got their own stuff mixed in from work and stuff. So when you come home from work, do you take that moment where you don't even, like,
bother, talk to
not even to your wife, your spouse, like anybody, you just like have a moment to yourself, so that way you can gather your thoughts and your emotions. Or
it's like driving home.
My moment is in my truck.
Yeah. And see, I work at home, so it's like.
So you have to kind of walk outside or something.
Because I feel like it could be.
So if your moment's in your truck, then when you come home,
I'm good. I'm good.
Because it's a 10-minute drive, mine a 30 minutes.
Mine's 10 minutes. So I sit in there for a minute.
Like,
I'm not going to project my attitude to her negatively. Like me being calm or quiet about whatever I'm dealing with is not me being negative to her. So I don't want to come in and just be like, yeah, whatever. I don't want to say nothing to her negative. But I try to communicate whatever I'm going through as much as I can. If I can't, then I let her know, hey, this is where I'm dealing with something right now. But, just give me time. But I'm good. We can still go to dinner. You can take me on a date. Girl, you can send me some flowers if you want to. But I always communicate, and that's why you probably be like, oh! You probably be hot, boy. I do it.
I can see that. I just gotta, I think, okay, what I learned this time around is I can't fix everything Steve going through.
that's fact.
Yeah, that's.
Because I was trying to fix. I'm like, well, you need some money. I'm not.
Yeah, she did. She was like, is it money? You let me know. I was like, what are you talking about?
Sometimes you just need a listening ear.
That's it.
With no constructive criticism.
That's why I just
Just
don't
me.
judge me.
Don't judge me.
You just want to vent.
That's That's one thing I learned. Crystal used to be like, "Can I just talk to you without?" Cause I'm a fixer. Like,
Me too, dog.
Let me fix it.
Yes.
You need to do this. You need to do that. This is what you should have did.
And I'm like,
She's
I don't
no,
need
you don't need it. Just
I
wanna
don't, I don't need you to be no minister. I don't need you to be the businessman. I just need you to be Marcel. Just let
But
me
I also,
listen.
did she say that before? Because I always tell her, I'm like, let me know before, what kind of conversation is this?
But I get that. That's a good
Let
point.
me know, because I don't want to fix it.
She told me
if you don't
after
want
that
to.
conversation, and from that point forward, I won't even ask. I'm
until
like,
I ask for the
until she
advice or
asks,
something.
yeah. Now that's automatically assumed.
Because
Until she asks, I'm just sit back and listen.
sometimes you have to understand the partner that you with. Like everybody learns from their partner, right? In some aspect. Marcel can't cook, but he a businessman.
Right.
I do everything, you know. So it's a difference, right?
What you can't do then?
No.
You do my shit. No, you got me messed up.
He ain't good, but he is.
And then he gonna say, I'll do everything.
I almost passed out. He a businessman, he can cook. And she stuttered. I knew it all.
I'm saying the difference is too. Sometimes you just want the person you're with not to be the critique person, not to be the manager, not to be your marketing, not to be your idealist. You just want them to be the person who you talking to. Yeah, I just want you, just shut up. Like just listen to me, and then act like you don't know how to fix it.
Then you get mad when I was just like, yeah, okay, baby.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. But that's what I'm saying. I'll ask her, I'm like, yo, what do you want? Wait. Before you go into it, I know you're finna tell me a lot. What do you need from me right now? I'm just venting. All right, cool. Then I'll be like, all right, what? Yeah, I'm all in it.
You don't care.
Then at the end, she be like, so what you got to say? I'm like, you told me not to say nothing.
Oh my God.
But you gotta just communicate it. I think
it's so hot.
I think that is being emotionally available, just being as that's emotionally available. I'm here for your emotions. I'm here for you. The way you, you know what I'm saying? Like,
she's willing to always listen to me. That's one thing I love. Like, she'll sit down.
You talk. I'm kidding.
Yeah, I do talk. She don't like when we having an argument or a disagreement. I promise you, she did it today. She did it today. I'm talking to her. I'm like, yeah, I ain't like that, Briss. You know, something. All you have to do is, she was like, oh, that's on sale today. Like, she'll cut off and talk about something. I'm like, hey, man. I'm like, nah, dog, I ain't value. You know, I'm going in. But it's like, you gotta, you know, my thing is I'm long-winded, so you gotta accept me for who I am, just in general. But, you know, but, oh, man, whatever. I don't even know what the question is. I'm mad. You ain't trying to hear the real.
So is everybody comfortable with telling your spouse what's wrong? Like, you comfortable enough to go?
I think it took a long time to get there.
Yeah.
We just had this conversation the other day.
Really?
You want to know one of the reasons why couples are not comfortable with telling each other like what's wrong or the truth about things, because when you first start dating, I'm pretty sure y'all went through the same thing I did too, just like us. When we first started dating, it was like, oh, we best friends, like we homies, like cool. We could tell each other everything, flaws and all. Then when you get together, you become in this, you know, you have this parameters around it to where you kind of scared to kind of say, or you kind of like
what you feeling it.
You feel like you're gonna hurt their feelings. If I tell you that you're doing this wrong, I'm gonna hurt your feelings.
I don't like this.
Yeah.
So we had this conversation literally last week. We was like, we gotta be like we friends, but are we really best friends? Like,
and we realized that we weren't. We realized we weren't.
Like I could get on the phone, like I get on the phone with you and tell you everything without any. You can say something back and it won't hurt my feelings. It'll be like, whatever. That's the truth. It's raw. But she can say the same thing. It's gonna hurt.
Love hurts, man.
But I'm like, look, we gotta get to that state of point to where if we really true friends, best friends. Can we have like sometimes we be riding. I'm like, can I talk to you as best friends or a husband? Like, she's like, talk to me like your best friend. And then we get into that moment. We know how to like flip the switch and we can talk to each other like that. So for us, it's like we had to get back to that moment to where we're like, all right, as best friends, we can be vulnerable and open. And we still married in the same capacity, but it's like now we got our best friend thinking cap on to where I can tell you about your flaws. She can tell me about my flaws, and it's like, all right, cool. Like,
and one of those things I think has to do with like, you know, the man being so superior. You know, you want to look at your man like he your superhero, like, you know, like he wearing a cape.
Hey family, honestly, I know that it was getting really, really good, but I want to say that we are going to have a part 2. So please wait until then to get the rest of the information. These couples gave us so much information that we cannot contain it into one day in just a few hours. So we want you to look forward to part 2. And I also want to let you know that we have a realtor on the show, as well as someone who moves items, boxes, whatever you need moved. They do that nationally. As well as the realtor, she does houses in the city of Houston, as well as the surrounding areas. And that is AJ and Reggie, who are on my right. So I'm going to put their information down below the video on our YouTube channel. So please check them out, all right? So be sure to look forward to part 2. Of course, this is our last recorded show. Season 1 is officially wrapping up, and we have the season finale coming up, which is next week. It's going to be live on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook at 6 p.m. We are really, really happy that season 1 was a success. It was trial and error, but it was definitely a success and a start to so many. So please look forward to the season finale. I can't wait to see y'all. I'm gonna do a big recap. So I'm excited. I'm excited. You know, even though we're doing a season finale, you won't forget about wine therapy. We got some good things coming on within the season, between season 1 and season 2. So make sure to look forward to that. I love y'all. I pray y'all enjoyed all the information and look forward to part 2 and the season finale.